Hi, and welcome to Punchlines, Plots, and Procrastination. I'm Yvonne, and today on episode 5, we're going to talk about books, my favorite thing. The books that we couldn't put down and a few that we probably couldn't finish. We're going to talk about them all. And joining me today is my friend and fellow book lover, Jacquie Owens. She is the communications librarian at Baldwinsville Public Library and a former adult services librarian. Jacquie loves to write in her free time and is always looking for what makes books unputdownable. Is that a real word, Jacquie?
It should be, but thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so glad you're here. So let's talk about the magic behind great storytelling and maybe talk about some books that we think are just kind of addictive or others that are a total snooze. I've had a couple of those.
Yeah.
So, just anything you want to talk about that has to do with books and I'm good with
Oh,
that.
yay.
As
Okay.
a librarian, um, is reading a big part of your day? I mean, if I worked at the library, you couldn't get me to do anything. I'd just be reading all day long.
Well, that's actually the myth of librarians. I mean, maybe they did in the past, but I have trouble finishing a book these days because we're just so busy with other things. And I think we're spending more time helping other people find the books they want rather than us reading them. And that's yeah, it's
I
it's
would
it's
think.
actually very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, if I worked there, I would be in a bathroom stall with the books. I'd be
Well,
fired pretty quickly.
I'm not saying I didn't do that. I just
Oh, okay. Yeah, because
yeah.
surrounded by books, that would be like the best thing ever for me.
It's like being in a candy store. It really is.
I imagine it is.
Yeah.
Even, listen, just because I go to the library a lot, I'm constantly getting books out, and I'm like, now I'm pressured. I got to read them. I got to read them. But oh my gosh, I've had some good ones lately. So, when you do get a chance to sit down and read, do you like zoom through a book, or do you take your time and enjoy it? What do you?
Oh, well, I'm a slow reader. My
Oh
husband's
yeah.
very fast. And
Oh
we read the same book one time and he forgot all these details. He like glossed over them. And I was like, remember that detail or remember that. Because for me, it's like savoring a good meal. I
yeah,
mean, the words are just so important to me, and every word is important to me. So, that's why it takes me so long to read a book. And so I have to really want to be invested in order to
yeah,
finish it.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, I read a book recently. I don't know if I have it here. I thought I did. Yeah, Code Name Helene. Have you read this?
no.
Oh my gosh.
Mm,
I read it in 2022. I always write my little review in the front,
good idea.
and it was excellent. And I just read it again because I wanted to make sure that we could talk about it. Such a good book. Uh,
Wow.
it is a passionate love story, but it's really about this real woman that lived during World War II, and she snuck people over lines. She was so heroic. I marvel at her. And reading the book taught me a lot about World War II that I didn't know. So
I love that part.
it was
I love
very,
that part.
yeah, it was very educational. The author's name is Ariel Lawhon, and I don't know if you know that person or not, but anyway, yeah, that I love
Sure.
a book that grips me. Like the first page, I was like, holy Moses, you know?
That's an awfully hard thing to do. I mean, there are some genres that you have to build a world first before you can get into the plot. And to make that interesting is really, really
Yeah,
difficult.
yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
I'm struggling that right with that myself right now because I have a book that I'm ready to let go of. But
mm,
I'm looking at the opening line and I'm thinking, I think I can do better. I think I can do better.
yeah,
So I'm holding on to it. I don't want to publish it just yet because I'm working on making sure that first paragraph or first page at least
yeah,
really grabs the reader because I know how important that is to me. So
yeah.
when you read, what's your favorite genre?
Um, I say romance because those are the ones I've read the most in my lifetime.
I'm
Um,
surprised.
I don't know how I glommed onto those, but I I love it because the formula is it's always going to be a happy ending. And I like that part. I like to know that somehow it's going to work out to be a satisfying ending, whether they get together or not.
Yeah.
I like that part.
Yeah.
But I have tried and loved books from all the genres, nonfiction, biography, everything. If it's well written, I'm happy.
Yeah. I tend to read a lot of nonfiction. I tend to read a lot of memoirs, a lot of autobiographies, and things like that. I've read every book any comedian has ever written. In fact, I collect them, and I read them over and over because I'm very interested in that, particular thing. But a very good book to read that is a love story. I don't know. Do you read Jojo Moyes?
I have not read her yet, but I've heard great things about her.
Yes, and this one especially, it's called The Last Letter from Your Lover, and it got a best book ever. I loved it, is what I read here. I read it in 21. But anyway, yeah, there's so many good books. We can't live long enough to read them all.
No, we can't, unfortunately. That's the sad part.
I've always said, I don't care if I have to go to jail at some point in my life, as long as you keep bringing me books, I'm happy.
Yeah, they better.
I would love to sit in a cell where nobody bothers me and just read a book.
Yeah. I will commit a crime just so I could get into jail so I'll have time to read. You know what I mean?
That's about right.
Yeah.
Now I know that you're a writer as well. So tell me about what types of things do you write about, and do you write every day?
I don't. I wish I did. Being a full-time person, I started writing when I was at home with the kids. So it was a different schedule with
Sure.
this being full-time. And then I write at work. I do a lot of the article writing and a lot of the note taking and everything. I do a lot of writing here. So by the time I get home in front of my computer, I'm like, no, not thinking. Can I just, shut off my brain for a while? I've been trying to do more because I'm starting a new book as part of it's a 5-book series.
Ooh.
And I finished one and published it. And then I'm on to this one that everybody wants me to write. So I'm writing that one right now. And it's about a family. The 5-part series is about a family, and each sibling has a story. And I already got the stories. So yeah.
Is it a true story or is this fiction?
It's fiction.
Fiction.
It's definitely fiction. It's the Newman family, and they came out of National Novel Writing Month, where you write 50,000 words in a month.
Oh,
I did that
yeah.
a couple of times, and
I need to do that.
It's fun. It is once you get a story you like, it's fun. Yeah.
I'm going to Denver in October to an authors conference, and I can't wait. I'm like so psyched over it. I hope I learn a lot. I like to write. I get up in the morning. I have that luxury that I work from home. So if I'm not out speaking somewhere, I can be in my pajamas all day.
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
And, I get up, I have a journal. I write in my journal every morning, and I do have my quiet time in the morning. And I think that's when ideas generate for me. So I want to encourage that and keep going. But I think anybody that wants to be a writer or is a writer or is a budding author, you've got to find the time that is most productive for you and just make sure that you write every day. It's really important.
Yeah.
I do
Really?
know when you have children and when you have a job where you have to get up and go to your job and you have to be there 8 hours, it's difficult, but carve out some time.
Putting something down every day, I think, is the best
Yep.
way to keep it easy for you, because I've had stopping months where I haven't done anything, and getting started again is a struggle. And I'm doing that all the time. And it's like, no, just write every other day. If you can't do it every day,
Even if it's just for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I'm not much of a television person. I don't even know how to work my television. But anyway, I used to watch a soap opera years ago when I had kids.
Me too.
I
Yeah.
watched All My Children, and I never missed it. And if I had to be somewhere at 1 o'clock, I taped it. Back then, we taped. And it's a little bit off, but I wanted to make sure that I read my Bible every day. And I thought, I just don't have time. I'm busy with the kids. I'm busy with work. I'm busy, busy, busy. And then I
Yeah.
thought, no, you watch All My Children. That's 1 hour a day. You're watching All My
Yeah.
Children. So you can't say you don't have time to read the Bible. So cold turkey quit watching Erica.
Uh,
You know what I mean? And I give that time now to my Bible. So you
yeah,
can make time. You really can. You might
you
have to
can.
take it from somewhere else. But let's get back to the books because I want to know.
Okay.
So you basically you read a lot of love stories, which that's kind of cool.
I have.
You're giving your heart some love.
Yeah.
But do you have a book that was such a page turner you just could not put it down? Do you?
Uh, I have so many, but the latest one that I keep thinking about, it keeps coming back in my head, is The People of the Book by Geraldine Brooks.
It's called The People of the Book.
Yes, she wrote Horse, which seems to be very popular with a lot of people. This is The People of the Book, and it's an older book that she wrote,
Oh,
and it was just, it has that mixture of historical but modern, but kind of a thriller, kind of a mystery, had a little bit of everything, and I really love that. And the way she writes is it's almost poetic. It's a very lyrical. The words just flow, makes it really easy to read and visualize what she's
yeah.
talking about. So I couldn't put that down.
Well, see,
And
that's the kind of book
that
I
was a book
just,
club one. Yeah.
yeah, there's some of these books. I read this whole book series with Elena Ferranti, and I couldn't put them down. And they're thick books too. And
Yes.
I'd read them in a day and a half. I'd get through it and read another one. But there's a lot of Italian stuff in there, and I'm a full-blood Italian girl, so I can't put it down. I love stuff like
Yeah.
that. What's the best advice you can give the parent of little children about reading?
I see a lot of parents going with their kids to the library to pick out books,
Yeah,
and especially with young boys, it really is important for them to pick out a book that they want, even if it's something that they've read 500 times and they keep taking it out. Let
yeah,
them take it out. You can pick out a couple of things too and say, okay, we've read your book, can we just try mine? um, but don't ever kind of say, oh, that might be too hard for you, or that might be too easy. Just
oh,
let them have control over that very small thing, to have
yeah,
a book that they like,
yeah.
and be able to take that home and read that because they know they can read it. It builds confidence.
Mhm.
But you can expose them to other things on your own. So you get to do both.
Yeah, yeah,
But don't ever discourage them from trying something that might be too hard. You could say, come to me if you don't know a word, or
yeah.
if it's too hard, you'll get it later, or something like that. So, yeah, that's really important.
I think reading to your children is the most
Oh,
important thing you
yeah.
can do. I mean, it really is because it's something that lasts with them the rest of their life. When my daughter and my son were little, too little to read, just babies, there was one story that my daughter just absolutely loved, and we read it over and over. Every night I would say, "What do you want to read?" And she'd want to read this one story, and so we'd read it over and over and over. And it got to the point where she had memorized it.
Yeah.
And before she could actually read, she knew exactly when to turn the page. She knew and people would come over and she'd read the book, but it was all just memorized. And they go, "Oh, she reads at 2 years old. She reads. My kids can't even talk." And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
she's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's fine. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
she's memorizing, but she's got those sounds in her head, and she's seen the words, she's seen the pictures, and it's just,
Yeah.
that's, you're
She did.
started on the road right
Yeah.
there.
And
Yeah.
then another little I was over to my niece's house and her daughter couldn't have been more than 7. And I was reading to her and there was this one little book when you turn the page, I can't remember what it was about, but the guy takes off his hat and there's a plant growing out of his head. So I said to my niece, "Oh, that's ridiculous. You can't grow a hat. You can't grow a plant out of your head." And she puts her hand on mine and she says, "Aunt Vonnie, it's fiction."
Already got the fiction down. All right.
Listen, when I was
Love
7 years
her.
old, I didn't even know what fiction meant. You know,
I
oh
know.
my God, I cracked right up. That was hysterical. But I do think it's really important to read to your kids. So, yeah.
That is actually something we did when we started them when they were very little on board books, and we went from there. We were reading to them even when they were 8 or 9 years old,
Yeah.
because we'd kind of sit with them and talk to them before they go to sleep. And
Yeah.
we were. I said, let's read Nancy Drew. Because that was something I used to read. You want to
Too.
read in one sitting? Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I would do. And so I would be reading Nancy Drew, and I'd be so tired. I'd be going, and she went, and I'd start to fall asleep. And my daughter would kick me. She'd go, Mom, keep reading.
My goodness.
But yeah,
That's great though. It means
oh
she was
yeah.
used to it. She wasn't going to go to sleep. Oh,
No, she loved it. Yeah, but I'm sleeping.
yeah.
Right.
Now, I know for me, when I read a book, as long as I can recognize that character, as long as I know what that, like when I was reading this book, I had a particular actress in mind that I thought the heroine of this book looked like. Now, then I looked up who she really was in real life. She looked nothing like her. But
Yeah.
all through the book, I had this one lady in my mind of who she was. So, like when you read a book, is it the plot? Is it the characters? Is it the type of writing? What is it that grabs you, do you think?
I think to start with, it's mostly the writing. Like you said, that first page kind of grabs you.
Oh, yeah.
But if I don't like the characters, not even that they're the best or they're good. They could
Yeah.
be evil. If I like them, if I find them interesting, I think that's more important. But
Hmm.
then once you get past that, then you go to the plot.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes in a line. You start with that first page, and then the characters grab you,
Yeah.
and then the plot keeps you going. So it's
I
a
guess
step
it is
process.
for sure it's a combination. I think for
Yeah.
me though, if I can't relate to the character in some way or if when I read a book, I feel like I know the character. Like
Mm,
that could be my next door neighbor, you know. For
yeah.
some reason I connect with the characters first. I don't know why, but um and I it's hard to forget them once I finish the book. It's
I
like
know.
they're my friends now.
That's another thing. It's a very emotional for me to read a book that I love and to love the characters or love the people,
Hmm.
and then they have to put it down when it's done. I mean, I was crying after I read The Book Thief because I read the book and I was crying during it. I tend to, yeah, I get a little weepy a lot of the time. So at The Book Thief, so I was reading that and I got done with it and I'm like, it's over with. It's over with. Why is it over with? I like these people. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you know, I was listening to another podcast earlier today, and the guy was saying that when you write a book, you should always write it so that when they're done, they want more. And I
Yeah.
thought, really? Because I didn't think about that, but that's what you're saying too.
Yeah.
You want to know what happened next.
A couple of my daughter's friends read my book, my first book, and they were in the Finger Lakes, which is where my book is set. And they're like, this is just like the book. And I was like, whoo, it reminded them of something. And I'm like, okay, I did pretty good there.
You
Okay,
did
we're
pretty
we're on
good.
the
Yeah.
road. Yeah.
If they can recognize your location, that's
Yeah.
pretty good writing, my
It's
friend.
pretty happy. Yeah.
Kudos. Yeah. Okay, so are there certain genres that you kind of run through faster than others, or do you read? You said you read pretty slow
Um,
because you're kind of making sure you don't miss the thing.
yeah. I love narrative nonfiction. I think nonfiction is going to be more narrative generally, but Eric Larson is like I think the first one of the first writers that did narrative nonfiction, which means they do a lot of research and then they know it so well that they can write it as if it's a story. And with the
Yes.
actual, it's factual information. They're assuming a certain amount of conversation, but it's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
factual.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that level of detail. I love The Devil in the White City was like the first one I read of him, and it's just he keeps you going, and it's so much detail.
Yeah.
And you'd think, oh my God, that's so boring. I mean, I know more about submarines in World War II than, I ever wanted to. And yet the detail was wonderful. I loved it. I'm like, oh yeah.
Well, I think that I didn't know that term existed, but the book I'm writing that I have just finished is narrative nonfiction because it is a story, but it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, isn't that great?
yeah,
I mean,
so,
I think all biographies are kind of narrative, autobiographies especially are
yeah,
narrative
yeah,
nonfiction, but
yeah,
Eric Larson is just an amazing person for writing that sort of book, and I love that
yeah. I
because
do
it's
too.
not just a great story; it's a great true story, which
Yeah,
is even
yeah,
better.
it's
Yeah.
even better. When I first started reading this book, Helene, I didn't know it was a true story. But at the end, she writes that this person existed and that she was the most decorated female in the French Resistance. How come we never
Amazing.
heard of her in history class? That's what I want to know.
No, I know
What?
there's so many wonderful people out there that we don't know about, and it's like we need to write more. We need more
Yeah,
people writing about this stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay, are there certain genres that well, I kind of already asked you that you read fast through because, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for me, when I'm reading a book that's written by a comedian, I read it so fast because they just entertain me. I'm entertained the whole time, and I love it.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you read things about them that you had no idea, like I had
Yeah.
no idea just how poor Whoopi Goldberg was when she grew up. I mean, that girl was dirt poor. And I
Wow.
don't, the fact that she made it to Broadway was kind of on a fluke, and God bless her, she's done really well, and I'm, so
Amazing.
proud of her. Yeah. And I've seen her stand up, her one woman show, and it's
Yeah.
phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. So it was great to read about people like that. I got
Oh,
one now. I'm reading about Lucy Ricardo. I love Lucy. And it's an
yes.
old book. I picked it up. I think I might have got it at the book sale at the library. Yeah. And but I was just working in Jamestown where she's from. So
Yes.
everything she's writing about in the book I saw when I was there. So that's kind
Isn't
of
that
cool.
great?
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, I love, if you're talking about comedians, I don't know if Steve Martin is necessarily wrote, but just learning about him and seeing his stand up. I mean,
Yeah,
he's a banjo player, right? Amazing banjo player. And it's like,
yes. And a
wow.
magician.
Yes.
Magician.
Yeah. Isn't that
Yeah, I
great?
got two of his books. He's written two books. And,
Okay.
and they're good. They're really good.
I gotta pull those out and read those. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Have you ever tossed a book that everyone else seemed to love, but you just couldn't get into it?
I this is an unpopular decision, obviously, but I tend to be turned off when somebody says, "Oh, it's a bestseller. You have to read it." I don't know why. I think sometimes a lot of bestsellers are in the moment timely, and I don't necessarily want to read what's happening right now because I'm living it, and
Oh, I see.
that's tough enough. Let's
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
go there.
Yeah.
Um, and I usually wait like at least 6 months before I start picking up because at that point the ones that are kind of flash in the pan, kind of probably not that great, kind of get weeded out.
They
And then
do.
we're starting to look at things that are actually really good and that the reviewers are talking about as really good.
Yeah,
And more people want to read it. So, bestsellers,
I know.
that's usually what I shy away from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I belong to a book club and I love the ladies in my book club and we get together and we read a book and then we get together and have dinner and discuss it. And they always tend to go for like the most popular book on the market.
Yeah.
And I like to find something no one's ever heard of and
Yeah.
read it and say, look, this book's not getting the attention it needs. But maybe that's because we're writers and
Maybe.
we would hope somebody would do that for us. I don't know.
I,
Um, yeah, so um when you are reading a book, because I know for me, I like to be able to relate to the character, but or do you like things that like a character would do that you would never ever do?
I think if I can put myself in their place and say, me personally, I'd never do that. But if I were in that situation and I can empathize with that,
Yeah.
then that's a very interesting thing
Yeah.
to read about. I really love that. But I don't necessarily, I mean, it could be like, a 30-year-old guy that's drunk all the time and, nothing to do with me. And
Sure.
yet he might be really, really interesting because of
You
his
can
situation,
understand,
what he's dealing with.
and you can understand
So,
his motives, whatever they might be. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's what I love about it. Yeah.
Is there a personal litmus test for deciding if a book is worth finishing, even if it's like if you pick it up and I mean, I've had books where I'm like, please let something happen to keep me reading this book. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yep.
Like, how far will I go before I just say I can't read this book? It's just awful.
Yes. I think I think the how well it's written, that's a big one.
Yeah.
How many typos are in it? Like, did you get this? Did anybody else look at this before you published it? Because
That
you
really
really,
irritates me.
yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the other thing that really got to me and was really actually embarrassing is I run a book club here, and I pick out books generally. And I said, they wanted to do a cozy mystery. So I went to the shelf and I saw, I won't tell you who, had like 15, 20 books. And I'm like, ooh, okay, they must be good because they have all these
Because
books.
they've
So I
written.
just pulled one off and I didn't think about it being the first one. I just took it and it was like the 15th one or something.
Mhm.
And we all read it and it was awful. And and the thing that was really awful about it was that that she the character had this ongoing plot going on throughout the whole series,
Okay.
but they didn't explain it enough. I mean, some people explain it too much, but we didn't know what was going on with these characters
Yeah.
because they just kind of it just kind of happened and we're like, what happened? I missed this. I missed something. And it was you feel like you're sitting in a conversation and you missed the whole thing that was going on, and you're just
Yeah.
standing there
Yeah.
feeling left out. And that was we had a good time bashing that book.
I
We had a
bet.
good time with that.
We
Yeah.
had a good time. But
Yeah, I don't think I even finished it.
yeah,
I
I
don't think any of us did.
I have read some books where I've had to take a notebook and kind of write all the characters' names and who they were married to and
Yeah.
where they were in the story, especially when there's flashbacks.
Oh,
I
yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of I have to pay attention to what I'm doing. And that's all right as long as the story is good and the characters are rich,
Yeah.
full. Um, Now I am famous for this. I will start to read a book and then I go right to the end to see how it ended. Like I have to find out. Do you ever read the last chapter before you do the rest of the book?
I think if I'm ready, I'm going to be ready to put it down and not finish it. I'll read the end in
Oh,
order to say, oh, okay, it got there. Now I want to know how they get there. Now
yeah,
it's more interesting.
correct.
But I try really hard not to, especially like mysteries and stuff. But most of the time, if I'm ready to put it down, I'll read the end just to see what happens.
Yeah. I oftentimes look at the last couple pages. I don't know why. I guess because I just such a nosy thing. I got to know right away what happens. And I did that with this book. And I will tell you, if you do read this book, don't read the last chapter because don't read the last chapter. All right, we're almost out of time. We got about 10 minutes. I did want to know, um, what is like one book that you would recommend to anyone? And, one, and then maybe one that you would say, please don't read this book. It's probably the one you did with your book club.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I think The Devil in the White City by Eric Larson. That seems to be the book that most people are pretty happy with when I mention that to them, when I say this is a
about
good book.
the devil.
It's about a murderer and a good guy.
Really?
They're juxtaposed between during the Chicago World's Fair.
Hmm.
So you find out a lot about the Chicago's World's Fair, the White City. It was
Yeah.
called the White City because the first time they had electricity
Oh,
during one of these World's Fair. And this murderer took the opportunity of all these people coming into Chicago of building a house that was you could kill somebody and then dispose of the body. I mean, the whole house, yeah, the detail in this. And it was just so interesting because it was on the other end of it, the other chapters were about how that city was built
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what these people like I think Frederick Law was part of it, and what he had to deal with in order to get things done the way he wanted them,
Mhm.
and how that place was built, and it was just so interesting, and it was definitely a page turner.
Good, good. Okay, well, I
Yeah,
got it written down. So just very quickly, you have two published books or how many
just
published
the
books?
one,
You have
just the
one, and
one.
what's the title?
I'll just
Show it to us.
Ridgefall.
Oh, I love the book. It looks really interesting. I can't wait to
Thank
read it.
you. Okay.
I take it it's at the library. I can check it out.
It is now. I was at the last local author meet and greet.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
yes.
good. Okay. All right. I will take a look at it.
Thank
And
you.
I thank you so much for joining me today. This was fun. I wish we had more time, but
I
that
know.
is it for today's episode of Punchlines, Plots, and Procrastination. So big thank you to you. But now I
Thank
want to
you.
hear from the people that might be listening to this.
Mm.
What's that last book that you just really could not put down? And be honest, what's a book that you just ditched halfway through because it was just so boring? I really would like to hear that. So put it in the comments. And share your answers with me on my YouTube channel, please. And if you would subscribe to it and write a comment. It doesn't matter what you write. I just want to hear from you. I want to know who's actually watching these and if it's worth my time. So
No
share your
feeling.
answers with me, and I promise I will respond. If you enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe. And of course, share it and tell your book lovers about it as well. Until next time, keep laughing, keep reading, and remember, life is way too short for boring books. This is Yvonne. Have a great day. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.